Iloilo. Good morning, everyone. Nakapagkape na ba lahat? Bakit malungkot ang beshi ko? Okay, so yeah. My name is Pai, and I'm a support engineer at Yoast. Sino dito ang hindi alam kung ano yung Yoast at sino si Yoast? Mag-usap tayo. We have a booth right there. Usap tayo mamaya, ha, beshi? Okay, so yeah, again, I'm Pai, and I will be talking about, or I will be giving you tips on how to improve your website structure. Okay? So, let me start off with a little story. Once upon a time, hindi to Cinderella ha, once upon a time, there was a girl, at hindi ako yon, who loves to write beautiful stories. So every day, she writes beautiful stories, and she type it on her old-fashioned typewriter. So syempre proud siya. After she writes the story, babasahin niya, smiles, and proud of her work. After that, she puts that on her desk. So another day comes, she writes another beautiful story. After that, she puts it on her desk. So after a year of writing stories, she now have 365 sheets of paper on her desk. So since she loved writing, she keeps on writing. So after years of writing, all the piles are cluttered. So imagine how would she look for the most beautiful stories she created? It's impossible to find it, right? So those beautiful stories will get lost, right? Because she didn't file it. She didn't pile it, like no categories, nothing. She just piled it on her desk. It's cluttered. Yeah? So that same goes with our website. If we don't organize them, people will get lost. So your visitors will get lost. Of course, Google will get lost. Yeah? So, if you have a website, the important thing that you need to do is, of course, to organize your content. Yeah? So, let's talk about the importance of a website structure. So we have 3 reasons why it is important. The site structure is very important. So first, the reason why site structure is important is for your users, our visitors. We have to think of our visitors when it comes to our website. The structure of your website is very important, so people will be able to easily find what they're looking for in your website. They will find your content easily if you have a good website. Also, imagine the girl from our story. If she has to order the stories, it'll be easier for her to find her beautiful story, yeah? So if she's able to order them by categories or by topics, maybe even put some post-it, so it'll be easier to find her story again. Okay. Hi again. All right? So, yun, the first reason why the site is important is for our users. Now, let's go to the second reason why the website structure is important. So the second reason is, or has something to do with Google. The way your site is structured will give Google an idea or clue what your content is about. Your site structure determines whether the search engine can understand your website and what your website is about. So when Google arrives in your homepage or in your website, it will follow links, right? So we all know that Google bots will follow the links in your website. So the links, it could be internal, external links, all the links there in your homepage. So by following those links, Google will also understand what your website is about. So it will understand the relationship between those pages that are linked into your homepage. So that's why it is important that we tell Google. If not, how would Google know? So the third reason also has something to do with Google. Everything Google dito. Kasi it's Google who will tell your users, right? We want to rank, di ba? So it also has to do with Google. So in your website, you probably have blog posts or say articles that are of the same topic. So, like in our case, we tend to write about SEO. SEO. Everyone knows about SEO? Kung di nyo alam, we have a booth right there. Usap tayo. So you have multiple blog posts, and in our case, we used to write a lot of articles about SEO. So we cover topics like quick wins, importance of site structure, everything SEO. So if we don't tell Google, Google wouldn't know which article is very important. So just like the girl, nobody knows that there's a very beautiful story on that pile. Yeah? So if we don't tell Google, your visitors will not be able to know also. And Google cannot understand what your website for. Si Google kasi, he's not that smart. We have to tell Google na yan ay important. Hindi siya kagaya natin. We are smart, di ba? So we have to tell Google. Everything has to be told sa kay Google. So it is important that our structure is clear. So bakit? Ano nga ba? What is the ideal structure of a website? What does it look like? Do you have any idea? Well, an ideal website should look like a pyramid. So the structure of your website should look like a pyramid. At the top is your homepage. That's where Google lands. And underneath the homepage are your categories. So if you have like a large website, you also have subcategories or taxonomies, custom taxonomies. So those categories and subcategories, you should have the same exact number of blog posts, articles, and product pages. It has to be clear. Maybe it's not possible to create like a pyramid. Maybe you haven't thought of anything about pyramid or structure when you create your website. Well, I understand some of us also doesn't have that idea before. So what can you do to avoid your site structure becoming an issue? How do you improve the existing structure of your website? So I'll give you tips on how to improve your existing website structure. So first thing that you need to do is to decide cornerstone. Decide what's the most important article or page in your website. You have to decide, which is very important. It should be an article that talks about your website, an article that's related to your mission. This should be the most important article. So we call it the cornerstone. Maybe you haven't thought of cornerstone before. Well, if you haven't thought of a cornerstone before, well, just pick your favorite. Yeah? The article that you want people to read within your website, that you want to tell people what your website is about. Choose that article or page or product. Okay? So, the second tip that I'm going to give you is the link from tail to head. So, as I've mentioned, you look for a cornerstone article. Yeah? So you link all of your articles that is related to your cornerstone content. So this is what we call the long tail articles. So you have to link everything. Just like in our case, we have an articles about the quick wins. As I've mentioned before, we have like the site structure content, like everything related to site content. We link it to our cornerstone content, which is the ultimate guide for site structure. Have you read that article? It's in our website, Ultimate Guide to Site Structure. You should read that. It's very helpful. So our blog post that relates to that is linked to that page. So that way, if we do that, we will tell Google and search engines which one is the very important page. Okay? So, the third tip that I'm going to give you is to regularly evaluate your categories. So just like the girl in our story, she loves to write stories, right? She loves to write everything she loves. Like, if she was to categorize those, maybe she has categories that goes like a big pile, a big categories. So maybe there are topics also that are just small piles. I mean, in the small piles, okay? So if one category becomes too large, you should consider splitting it, okay? That big pile is probably important because she wrote a lot of stories for that. So the same goes to our website also. You should ensure that the categories, like I mentioned earlier, has to be equally the same. Or if not, it has to be balanced. Because it's not easy to find, it's not easy for search engines to find what they're looking for, to find a topic in a very large pile of categories. The smaller the categories, the smaller number of posts in the category, the better. So if you have a large category, consider splitting them into 2 or maybe 3. Okay? So a good rule of the thumb for the size of the category is just like, the important is it's balanced. So make sure that no category is more than twice the size of the other. So it has to be balanced. Otherwise, your chance of ranking a post or an article in that category is very small. if you want to rank for a category or an article, the categories should be balanced so it's easier for search engines to look for the keyword in your category. Okay? So, the fourth tip is to use tags. Who's using tags here? Do we have bloggers? Or product? Oh yeah. So yeah, we need to use a tag. The structure of your website will really benefit from adding tags. Tags and taxonomies will give our site more structure. Google will understand better if we use tags, because tags will group our articles about the same topics. That's why we use tags, right? Because it will group our articles into that same tags. So, a lot of us, including me actually, when I used to blog before. So, yeah, I use tags because we have this plugin before, like the tag cloud, like yeah. So most of us actually are using tags more than they write post. I'm guilty of that before because I like the idea of of the tags like floating in the sidebar of your website. Yeah, and almost all of my posts are actually having their own tags. So that's wrong. That's wrong. So make sure that your tags are used more than once or twice. Okay? You should also ensure that your tags are in fact available to your visitors. So it should be somewhere in your website. So people can click on it and they will see all the blog posts and articles and products belonging to that tags. Okay? So, the fifth tip is to remove old content. Marami dito nakasmile. Pag remove content na parang, remove, Oh, di ba? May nakarelate. Kasi it's hard to delete or to remove our articles. Even though alam natin, it's very outdated. Di ba? Sayang naman yung sinulat ko. Di ba? Yung research ko para sa post na yan, sayang naman. Di ba? So in website also, yung mga e-commerce websites, lots of shops are actually selling different collections of products, seasonal ones. Yeah? So the old products could be on sale for a bit, and then ma-sold out, wala na. Diba? If you don't sell the same exact product in the future, or if your content is very outdated, by all means, delete nyo na. You don't need it. You can delete those ones. Okay? So, takot tayo na mag-delete eh. But, or maybe it's scary. And ako before, like I really don't wanna delete post. Kasi, pinaghirapan ko yan. Pero wala naman, hindi naman updated. So kaka-improve ko ng site structure ko, I realized na it would really help. It would really help pag i-delete mo yung old content mo. Deleting doon na pumapasok si si redirect. Yeah. So, sa Yoast SEO Premium, we have a redirect feature for premium, ha. So every time you delete a post, a page, a product, tags, anything, Yoast will prompt, should you want to redirect it to 410 or 301? Depende sa'yo. Okay? So, that way, it will actually help. Redirecting your pages to the relevant ones would really help for Google or for your website to just easily found. Kasi alam natin, we have important links also, di ba? Na yung old content mo maybe is helpful to the other article you have. So, i-301 mo to the relevant page. Okay? So, redirecting pages is not that hard with SEO Premium. So, it could be a category page or anything actually. Okay? So, wag matakot mag-delete ng page because eventually it will help. Medyo mabagal nga lang because, of course, si Google, hindi siya real time eh. So, tiyaga lang, tiyaga. Okay? Now, so the sixth tip that I can give you is to always avoid duplicate content. Sino dito nagmo-monitor ng Google Search Console? Di ba may mga mga duplicate content? Di ba problema 'yon? So, the same content can turn up in multiple locations in your website. As a reader, you don't mind. Nakita ko na yung gusto ko eh. I can read. Okay na, I'm happy. Di ba? As a reader, ganyan eh. But a search engine has to pick which one to show in the search results. When other website links to your URL or to your product, the chances are some of those websites may go to your first article, the other might go to your second article. So, nako-confuse si Google. Saan ba talaga? Sino ba talaga original dito, ha? Sino ba talaga original? So, these duplicates are linked to the same URL. So, pag may duplicate kayo, you can actually link these two pages to the real page you have using the canonical URL. So, canonicalization, alam ko na, no? Who can say canonicalization? Di ba? So, di ba? Di ko na alam. Canonicalization can be a good solution. Can be a good solution to duplicate content. It sounds scary though, because it's technical. In the advanced settings or advanced tab of the Yoast SEO Premium in the meta box, there is a field for canonical URL. So you can enter or you can specify your canonical URL from there. That way, you will solve the duplicate content issue that you have. But of course, canonicalization is not always the answer to that issue. Canonical URL in Yoast, you can use it if you only have few content. But if you have a lot and lots and lots and lots of duplicate pages, imagine half of your website. Diba? It's not easy. So, the only way to avoid duplicate content? Of course, do not write duplicate content. Di ba? Easy. Do not write. Bakit the same ang topic? Di ba? So do not write duplicate content. So, tulog na ba ang beshi ko? 7th tip na tayo. Pang last na. Tagaan niyo ako, ha? Okay, so this is the last tip that I can give you. Identify the orphaned content. So the term orphaned content refers to an article that doesn't have any links. Like wala talaga. Well, of course, if you categorize it, if that post belongs to a category, or if you add tag, of course, meron naman siyang link, di ba? But it doesn't have a text link. No one mentioned that page anywhere in your website. So how would Google know na nag-exist pala yan? Di ba? Kasi Google will look for an article that relates to the other page. Remember, we need to add links into your other pages. If one of your page is not mentioned in the other page, then how would Google know? How would Google know that this exists? So your orphan content also may have internal links from other pages and posts. So if an article is very important for you, you should make clear to Google that this article is from the same content. So it has to link to the other pages. Okay? So make sure Google and your audience can find the orphan blog post. So you have to link. Meron naman doon sa, if you go to the page overview, if you're using Yoast, you can see a tab right there, or a tag for orphan content. So if you see a lot of posts there, please work on it. So the orphan content, the page has to be mentioned, and also it should also mention other pages within your website and an external websites. So that's important, so that it will relate to your other content. Okay? So I guess that's all that I have. 7 tips. I will just like to give a recap of those. So first one, decide upon cornerstones. Okay? You can take a photo of that para you have a guide. So second is to link from tail to head. The third is to regularly evaluate your categories. It is important. Ano nga yun? Categories must be balanced. Okay? So not twice as double as the other category. Of course, use tags, but if you only use one tag, it's useless. If you only link one post to your tag, it's useless. Remove that tag. So you have to use tags maybe more than twice, more than once or more than twice, okay? So, remove your old content, okay? Huwag matakot. We have 301 and 410. Those are our friends, okay? Always avoid duplicate content. You can use the canonical URL, or you can just write an article that's not duplicate. Do not duplicate your content. And the last thing is to identify the orphan content and work for it. Okay? Okay na ba? All right. So, creating a website actually never ends. Improving your site structure can be overwhelming from the very beginning, especially if you're just like the girl in my story na hindi naman nag-think ng mga ordering ng mga post niya. So, it's better if bago pa yung website nyo, think of a good structure na. Okay? So, kung nag-exist na, wala. You have to look for a way na gaganda yung site structure nyo. Okay? All right. So that ends my presentation. So, before ko aalis, hirit lang ha. Yoast has a diversity fund. So, kung sino yung, kung meron kayong kilala, ang hirap magtagalog, no? Ayun na, wala na ako. Kung meron kayong kilala na who's very active in WordPress community, yung talagang volunteer who's very active and you want to reward them, you can apply for the Yoast Care Fund. For more questions, our booth is right there. You can ask more questions about that if you want to learn more about that. We also have Yoast Diversity Fund for those WordPress users who wants to speak 2 different WordCamps within Asia. Within Asia or within Philippines lang muna. Di ba? Para hindi naman natin. Within Philippines lang muna, Yoast will help you with your accommodation and travel. So, for more information, you can go to our booth. Usap tayo, mga beshi. Okay? So, that's all. Thank you for listening, and I hope hindi na malungkot ang beshi ko. See ya. Thank you.